Resident Evil 4.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Resident Evil 4 Professional No Damage run. This is the second part, 3-1. This is the introduction to the blind guys, and I don't know their names, so someone's going to enlighten me and a bunch of others in the comments. So, you'll notice I backstepped into the room to trigger the spawn so that I could get a nice little advantage when it came to running away. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Pressing the wrong buttons, it would seem. So this guy is blind. He has his eyes sewn shut, and the mechanic is generally, you know, shoot the bells or make some kind of noise, lure him away, then hit him in the back with whatever you can that does a lot of damage. The only problem with this is he has this uncanny ability to know where you are. You know, he's an AI, he knows where you are, but he'll walk around all menacing like this, and if you walk, normally he can't tell where you are. Every so often though, he kinda can, and he'll do a charge at you, so it turns something that kinda works into something that kinda don't. And every so often you'll just get unlucky and hit by him, but all you want to do is maximise damage on his back, and do that however you wish to do so. You're at your most vulnerable after you've hit him, because when he charges, it's sometimes random, sometimes he knows exactly where you are. Like right now, that was real close, but I managed to get out of there, and there you go, he's dead. That was not a one take though. Like I've said, the fight with these things is always questionable with the way the mechanics work. I've never really got that good at exploiting them, but you know, it's very doable, and later on you will fight more than one of them. So you want to be careful in those endeavours. But Resident Evil 4, this game, it's so much fun. If you've not played it, I do recommend you try it. It's one of those games that might not have aged so well for you if you don't have the nostalgia factor that a lot of us do. But at the same time, it's such a good version of what it is. Like, there's so much detail and depth in this game. You know, Shinji Mikami makes really good games, and I'm hoping The Evil Within is going to be the spiritual successor to this, because it seems that that's pretty much what it's shaping up to be. There's another suplex. The suplex is great, but it's not good for A, crowd control, and it's also not good if you don't damage the enemy first, because if you don't damage them, you will not get the head pop. And I'm pretty sure when you do those context-sensitive actions, boom, they do not turn into the La Plagas, which somebody pointed out, something I already knew, which is quite funny, because believe it or not, guys, I did Spanish at secondary school, which is obviously a long time ago now. I was in the top set for it. I took the higher paper. I just, you know, didn't really retain much of it, and I was good at it until we got to the point where you had to start doing the tenses, you know, the past, present, and future tense, and that's when any language gets really fucking hard, especially when you're speaking like a language that has several different dialects, and in certain parts of Spain compared to other parts of Spain, you say something, it means something different, and you know, that's pretty tricky. But La Playa is obviously beach, and I refer to the La Plagas as La Playa because I kind of like saying it. I like the way that the Spanish Y's roll off the tongue. You know, it kind of just wrestles itself, and it sounds pretty cool. Even though there's a big difference between the plague and the beach, or la biblioteca, and all of the things you want to say that you learn in like the first day of fucking Spanish. You know, ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? All the great, fantastic things you will never ever use. But this is a very hard room. It's a massive checkpoint, it's a massive gauntlet, and there's, look at it, just so tricky. The things you need to know: there are two entrances into this room. One of them is through this door, which I'm using now, and I'm using the shotgun to group them up and do maximum damage. The other entrance is to fall in behind me. I actually played this section with volume so I could hear them falling in behind me. If you have Ashley directly behind you, sometimes they'll attack her, sometimes they'll grab her. I like to put her off in a corner if I can, because it just makes it easier. But normally, you will hear the the crazy maniacal fucking monk laugh before they strike you. Sometimes you don't get that courtesy, so you want to always keep your head on a swivel, keep your ears pricked, and just be aware, whenever you think the spawns have ended, they haven't. There are more dudes to come. And the cool thing here is, when it gets quiet, I'm going to run out, because the door at the beginning of this room is a checkpoint. You can make your own checkpoints. So as soon as I've thinned the herd, I'm going to run all the way out, and I'm going to hit the door so that I don't have to do all of this again. And depending on how, you know, paranoid or how much trouble you're having on this sequence, you can hit that door after every kill. It's entirely up to you. I don't recommend that because it takes away some of the edge of the challenge, but it's just something worth knowing. So here they go, banging on the door. There's only one dude now. A bit of a waste of a shotgun shell, but you'll notice I haven't really been using my shotgun because I'm saving it for situations just like this. So I move Ashley over here so that we can do this while we've got this moment of peace. That puts the lever up. This dude, fastest door opening ever, that guy. I'm not going to mess about in this place. I'm going to use the shotgun because it's what it's for. That is going to turn into... Oh my god, I haven't heard it. Fuck! Oh no, I have. There we go. Good lad. That was kind of terrifying to watch because I'm just trotting along. There we go. Just smoothly throws the flash, gets rid of him. So now I've told Ashley to follow me. We're going to lure more from this door. Shield guys are probably the biggest threat here because it's difficult to stun them through the shield unless you do that. Like, the door is so empowering on this game. I'm not kicking it because you can get hit when you kick it. I'm letting them do it so they all pile up. And I appreciate this is probably not the most fun thing to watch, but this is the safest way to do this. So, see what I mean? It seems like there weren't that many dudes left. Turns out they just either have bad pathing or don't know where I am. And they're faster than they look too. That is definitely something you need to be aware of. But hit the door. There's your checkpoint. And then get back in. I mean, you can use this opportunity to reload and stuff if you need to. You'll notice I only have 7 shells. I don't know if that's the max of my shells. I'm not too sure. But, see what we're doing here. I look at them. They're everywhere, man. They're just everywhere. Ooh. This is going to be close as well. Watch this. Oh. How the hell did Ashley not take a hit then? I have no idea. But there's a dynamic difficulty to this room, and I'm noticing now that I don't know if it's triggered. Because I know in the stock footage I've got for this recording that when I first entered this room, there were crossbow guys on the balconies, and I remember them fondly because I'd never seen them before. However, when I entered the room on the attempt where I actually beat this section, they aren't there, which makes me think that maybe after restarting a few times it either lowered the rank or... I don't know, I'm not too sure actually. They might still turn up, I might just have got a little bit too hasty, but I can't hear them or see them, and you know, they were a big surprise to me because I didn't really know too much about this game's dynamic difficulty when I first played it, because, you know, nobody did, really. But it's quietened now, we can pick up some of the stuff, and then we can go over and we can mess with the crank. That's a door that I assume is like an enemy spawn closet. Preceding Dead Space and its joy of enemy closets. Ooh, incendiary. Ooh, you can hear somebody. Here we go. So this is a shield dude. The shield dudes you can shoot like partitions away from their shield if you choose to. You can use a shotgun to get rid of it all in one big blast. Just be aware that they use the shield pretty damn well, and they can be quite dangerous. But now the shield's gone, drop him with a leg shot, drop his buddy with a leg shot, and then knife them together. Such a fantastic strategy, and I'm always happy when I can do this. It's just when they stand up like that, it gets a little bit scary, because if you're unlucky, like I have just been then, they will attack and not get stunned. So you're too close to dodge, there's nothing much you can do unless you're really quick and you can shoot them. And usually when you shoot people, it's a guaranteed flinch. That was a bad shot. Uh-oh. Here this dude comes, moving with a purpose. but we put him down. Interesting. I don't know why I did that. Oh. Like, that should have been a neck breaker. But he doesn't have it. Thus it wasn't. And if you go from this game to Resident Evil 5, you'll notice that they changed the controls. And it really threw me off, because I was pressing the wrong shit to knife and all sorts of stuff. And on the PC, I don't know if this is different on console, because my version of the game's somebody who used to be a friend of mine, who essentially robbed it. They made it so that you could kind of strafe. And I don't remember this game having that. On the, sorry, Resident Evil 5 having that on console. I don't know if that's something they changed for the PC release, but I had to change the controls because they were fucking me up. I had to put them to tank mode because it just didn't work for me. You know, I'd just come off playing this game. I'd put a lot of time into this game as I used the door again for another checkpoint. Paranoia at its finest, but this is a really challenging room, so I'm not fucking about. But the hard part of this is not this sequence. It's when... hang on a second. More dudes. That guy's got a helmet on. Do not shoot the helmet. It's a waste of ammo. I can hear somebody else. There we go. I love this gun. So much fun. There are some things on games that are just really satisfying, and headshots are one of them. Some games do them terribly. Some games like this, you know, like Gears of War, just do them so well. They make them really satisfying. Uh-oh. Oh, this is a distance shot and a half. Look at that. Jesus Christ, Chris. That might be the best thing you've seen me do so far. A distance shot as he's approaching a door that's a game over screen with the TMP. And somehow didn't kill Ashley. I'm proud of that one. But I personally think this is a shit part of the game. Like, there's no reason for there to be this much happening in such a space. Like, if this didn't have the water, I would probably love this fight, because it'd give you the maneuverability you need. But because of the way that it funnels them on these paths, it just means that you can get trapped, and it means that you have difficulty running past people. Like, this room could be amazing, and this could be one of the most awesome, like, combo video areas ever, but it isn't, just because of the geometry. But when you mess with this switch, it's going to spawn a bunch of scythe dudes. I'm going to try and throw a grenade at them. Or so it would seem. Like, the frame rate on that is weird. What is happening with the rotation stuff? But here they come. I throw it down at my feet because they rush you super fast. And as you can see, I got rid of nearly all of them. The scythe guys are going to start turning up. We might have already seen some. No, I don't think we have. I think this is the first instance of scythe guys. Not only do they do scythe attacks, but they can throw the scythe at you. It works the exact same as the sickles, only it's, instead of it being a high arc, it's kind of like a mid-range daisy cutter thing. But watching this back, when you play this game, you do get really sharp when it comes to the kneecaps. Kneecapping, knifing, and, you know, checking your surroundings. And I think that's the thing I love the most about it, just seeing how efficient you can be. And then, you know, playing the games that followed it, where every rule that you're watching me dominate this game with doesn't apply. Like, enemies taking shotgun blasts, and it's just not. It's a sad day, really. But there's some shotgun shells. Apparently, there's a mechanic in this game where when you get a certain amount of ammo in your inventory, the game stops populating the drops with that ammo type. So if you have a lot of ammo for something, chances are you're not going to have too much more for that one, which is a pretty decent mechanic. There's me using the door again. And I do actually really like that mechanic, because it's the closest thing you can get to your own checkpoints, and I'm hoping at some point difficulty in games will get to the point where it's difficult because it's hard and not because the checkpoint wasn't sufficient. And that's one of the things that bugs me the most. Like, this is where the archers, the crossbow guys were, but for some reason they're not there now, and I don't know why. It must be restarts lowering the rank, something along those lines. Which really sucks, because I told the guy that he would see them, because I remember seeing them myself, and you haven't seen them, which is kind of sad. But yeah, those guys are very accurate with those crossbows, but as soon as you get in a blind spot, they're really simple to get rid of.
Look, there's a crank over there.
But this is where shit gets really interesting, because you have to protect her while she does things, and you have to protect yourself while protecting her. And the combination of the two things is multitasking on a level that when I was younger and I played this, it was kind of too much. Like, I always remember this section and I remember hating it. When I played it back, I don't know if it's because I'm just better at games, I'm more experienced, or I'm just more, you know, mature about my approach to them, but it was nowhere near as bad as I remember it being. But just situational awareness is key, and make your shots count. If you miss, you can be in trouble. If you hit her, you're in even bigger trouble. You need to really, you know, just play well. If you can play well, you can do it. It's that simple. But the dynamic difficulty is a cool feature, and the ability to make your own checkpoints is also a cool feature. It's the quick save on PC. And at this moment in time, I've been playing some Bayonetta, because I've not played the game in a while. And I'm playing it now, and I'm reminded why I think that that's one of the best games ever made. Because it's fun. It's fun, it's polished, it just does the action stuff so well. Like, every time I play those kind of action games, there's something that I really wish I could change. You know, I put Ninja Gaiden 2 in, I'm immediately reminded why I hate moments of that game, i.e. the grab bullshit, the incendiary shuriken hell that's constant, and if I could change those two things, I would probably be in love with that game. But as it stands, I will always think the original Ninja Gaiden's better because that wasn't a case. You know, it was such a smaller part of that game than what it became in the second one. Like God of War, my problem with God of War is you spend more time doing other things than you do fighting, because there's a lot of like other stuff. And don't get me wrong, when I play those games, it is really fun, but sometimes when I just want to get in there and do some combat, you have to do a lot of like cutscene-y stuff and quick timey stuff, and I just want to do some fighting. You know, Devil May Cry's, you know, do a lot of things right for me as far as my fix and my need to do things. But there are certain aspects of them that do feel a lot older now. You know, when you've not played them for a while, the mechanics on them do feel kind of like a game that came out when they came out. And then there's Bayonetta, which, admittedly, it was released, what was it, 2009, so it stands a much bigger advantage of putting it on and immediately being reminded of why it's such a great game. But it's so fucking good. But there are parts of it that I didn't remember being the way it was, which really surprised me. Like, there are some serious frame rate problems in that game, but it's not usually in the fights. A couple of boss fights aside, it's generally in the traversal, which is weird. Like, if you go into the Panther Within mode, when there's fire around, then the frame rate takes a dive and things like that, which it really makes me want to get a Wii U, because on the Wii U, you know it's going to have solid 60 frames per second because it's a much more powerful machine. And then, of course, you can play the sequel, which I'm super excited for, but I might not be able to play, which makes me really sad. Because it's just madness. But, like, there's no restart checkpoint in Bayonetta, and I thought there was. And the closest thing you have is to quit and continue. But it takes so much longer than it needs to be. And the really sad part is, Metal Gear Rising has a restart checkpoint, and it makes it amazing, you know? And then another thing, the lock-on. The lock-on doesn't change the camera. For some reason, I had this memory of when you locked onto things, it automatically pivoted the camera so you could see them. And it doesn't. And Metal Gear Rising does, you know? It has the perfect lock-on. Also, Metal Gear Rising has a toggle lock-on, which in Bayonetta you can't have that option. Bayonetta would be such a better game if it had a toggle lock-on, and it's these things that in retrospect, when you look at, you know, these games that came afterwards, that I wish these older games would have. And those things alone would make that game so much better. And then the checkpointing. Some of the checkpointing on Bayonetta is amazing, and then at other points it's just disgusting. But that game, so much fun. Like, even if you don't know how to play it, it's fun. You know, there's certain games that you put on, if you don't know how to play them, they can be horrible. A great game example is God Hand. Like, when you don't know how to play God Hand, even when you do, man, that game can be horrible. It's just, it's a masochism fest. It's, let's see in how many different ways this game can beat your tits off, and you really don't know what you did wrong. And then you learn to play it, and it still beats your tits off. But Bayonetta, like, even if you're button mashing, which I never recommend people do, you can still feel like you're a part of it and you're enjoying it. And I just think it's so good. It's so fun. Like, you know, I've not played that game for a long time, and I'm just reminded of why I gave it so much praise and why I really should play it more. And I've been trying to do pure platinums. I've pure platinumed the prologue, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. And Chapter 2, God, it was so hellacious. Like, all because there's no restart checkpoint. And the checkpoints are sometimes spaced terribly. Like, the runbacks that you hate, the waiting through the load screens to pick your damn hard drive again, to continue to wait through a load screen, it drives me insane. And I know that later on, if I commit to this, because right now I'm not recording, and there's parts of me when I spend 2 hours on a single, like, 2-minute fight that wishes I was, because coming back to them, I know I'm not going to have the same nightmare because I'll be a better player, but there's always that thought in the back of your mind where you're like, I hope this is not going to be as bad as it was that first time. And there is something liberating about recording a really tough area and knowing that you never have to record it again. But I think that's the wrong attitude for Pure Platinum, because it's more of an evolution in playstyle than it is, you know, now that I've done this, I never have to do it again. And it's so much more lenient than Devil May Cry 3 to be specific, because that game, you can do a 10-minute mission. If you fuck up at minute 9, you have to do it all again. This game, the checkpoints do save you, but it has a tendency of saving before you get the ranks, which essentially kills the run, and I think that's a big shame. But I am watching a developer commentary with Hideki Kamiya as he plays the game and talks about it, and it is one of the best things I've ever seen on YouTube. I'm having so much fun. And it's 7 hours long. And normally, if someone were to say, would you watch a 7-hour video? I would be like, shut the fuck up. I'm not going near that. But this is just, time is flying, and I'm learning all the time, and I'm having such a fun time with it. So, yeah, search that if you want to check it out. It's a really cool video. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.